forgot it.
Dimitri. Hey, y'all. It's Andrew with Mossy Creek.
Sorry, Dimitri.
Samantha, your sound's on. Samantha, your sound's on.
It's on. Sorry.
Hello, everyone. It's a nightmare today. Okay.
It really is.
So,
I'm sorry.
I'm Andrew with Mossy Creek Mushrooms. This is my ever-lovely wife who is somehow not in focus. Okay, 1 second.
I'm focusing. Goodness. Hi.
Okay. Now we're in focus. So as you may notice, it's a completely different setup than normal. And Samantha's losing her mind.
I'm not.
Well, anyways, she may not be losing her mind, but I certainly am. I've been having horrible allergies the past few days. I've always got breathing problems. My biggest fear, by the way, for those of you who plan on serial killing me as a fan, my biggest fear is suffocating, on my own snot, which happens every night. So, anyways, good way to face your fears. Good to be back with everybody. Good to be back. We've been changing things around. We're moving the studio space around. You've got you guys with my back to that wall, and Samantha is usually across from me, where she is now to the side, which, so far it seems like it's working out pretty well, I think, the camera angles. So, anyways, this is why we're doing a part 2 of last week's, which, number one, I feel like we started getting traction, and then we never really did go all the way, right? And then the second part is, I've been moving stuff around and sick, allergened, and today's the first day I've actually felt pretty decent. So we're doing a part 2. Now, that said, Samantha, how are you?
Okay, Dimitri, I'm sorry. Your username and your name and your voice, I keep getting confused between the Discord and this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But it doesn't help. You've got a different name everywhere you go. He's anonymous.
Skull Crossbones. Cameron.
Wait, Skull Crossbones what?
I don't know. He's just right on the end. I guess.
Oh, gotcha.
Dead to the world.
Dead to
We're
it.
Just tired. And plus, I don't like change. This whole this setup is very strange now compared to what it was for me.
I like it. It's we're gonna do some cool stuff. So right now it is bare walls. It is very not just not put together the way I want. Still got all the artwork and everything on this wall, and I hate the shadow behind me. I want to get rid of that. Shadow behind Samantha I want to get rid of and put some artwork behind her. So it's it's going to be a work in progress. So I appreciate you guys bearing with us. Now, you'll have to pardon me. I took a cough syrup before this, about an hour before, trying to make sure that I had plenty of time to not be coughing all over you guys. So I'm going to try my best to stay away from that. All right, Samantha, what we got?
Well, in the description, you put chaos, so...
Hey! Serendipity.
We started with chaos.
I will say something you guys can't see right now, and I wish I had a camera set up for you all. The table looks 1 billion times better than what it did. 1 billion times. Wait, somebody tickled her, and now she's happily pecking away.
You said something about your worst fear, and then Michael Myers put noted, and then someday Cameron put skull and crossbones. The names. Anyway, the thing about shadows, you'll always have one. Whoa.
Not in a room that is lit in 360 degrees.
Oh, goodness. Anyway, it's good to see some familiar faces on here, so thank you guys.
So I see Urban Veg has got a question. I receive LC syringes with very little mycelium in them. We test those on 3 to 10 agar plates, but with very little mycelium in syringe. How do you handle testing on the plates? So we are working on ways to get more LC in syringes. I don't know what company you bought from, whether it was from us or someone else. You just shake the crap out of your syringes. There are mycelial strands in there that you're not seeing with the naked eye. So that said, oh my goodness, the aeration tech that I was showing you guys, where we're pumping air into the jar, we're doing our quality control test right now. I got the plates in front of me, but I have never seen growth. A gallon of LC has turned into almost jelly with how thick it is in like 6 or 7 days from constant aeration. So I've never seen this sort of growth. I'm really excited about it. I do have to work on our tech on how we extract the LC from it, but hopefully syringes you'll be seeing a lot thicker. There we go. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
This is some of it. I don't know. Well,
Hold on.
look how thick that is.
Yeah.
And it's making the more spherical ones. Oh, here, let me put it.
I like that.
Yeah, but see, the problem is it's not focused.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah, see, that's like almost pure mycelium. Yeah, we'll have to show you guys on another time. Check out my Instagram. I'll have it posted today on my Instagram. You can do my personal Instagram is MycoMiner, and the business Instagram, of course, is Mossy Creek Mushrooms. I'll do the aeration tech updates on both of those today, sometime this evening, so you guys can see all that. All right, Samantha, what else we got? Because I am not reading the chat very well.
Hold on. I'm going between two different worlds.
Two different worlds, the inner and the outer.
You answered the urban question, and then
I can't hear you.
is there a channel on the Discord that coincides with the live stream?
What does that mean?
I don't know. I guess if
What do you mean coincide?
if this live stream is on the Discord and we have two, some people, I've seen some of the art groups do like a Clubhouse live stream on top of a YouTube live stream on top of a something like Discord, but not Discord live stream, and it's all together and tied together.
So not that I know of.
We don't currently do that.
No.
I think it would be kind of neat too.
We could. We could do something like that. We've started doing on if you're on Discord or Patreon, we have a Discord and patrons only live chat every Monday. And this past Monday, we switched it to Discord instead. Where I recorded it, it will go on YouTube unlisted. So only people with the link, only people in our Discord and our Patreon will get that link and be able to rewatch it later. But Monday night patrons only live chats are now hosted on Discord. Just because it's so informal, it's much easier to chat with everybody back and forth. And that way, I can dedicate a good hour a week to getting a really good feel. Plus, it's where people are able to help direct the channel where they want it to go. So, Neo Geo, I hope that answers your question. And 3P, the temperature that I incubate at is something like 75 is the max I want to go. Anywhere from 65 to 75 I'm consider good. Don't want to go to 76. You get up to about 80 degrees for any amount of time, and you start seeing some contamination or some heat stress in certain strains. All right.
And then Tristan said that he has to go, but Cresswell said he has to go, but and I figured he'll come back later and probably skip to this part. I'm building a bagger pasteurizer with a barrel and a heating element, but I'm having trouble finding a good barrel or at least a food grade. Any tips?
Yes. What is it Ben's using now?
An olive canister?
I don't know if it's dairy canister. I think it's a milk canister. Anyways, it's like an all steel canister. That said, cheap. If you want a food grade like barrel, you'll just search on like Facebook Marketplace and stuff. You'll find a lot of places. Like in Knoxville, we've got a place that's a barrel supply company. You just tell them what you're looking for. I'm looking for a food grade barrel. Don't use the plastic, of course.
Well, and you can. His Tennessee barrels? Or Tennessee?
It may be Tennessee barrels. I don't know. They changed names at some point recently.
But I went up there and they had some that were from peanut factories and some that were soy oil and some that they had a large, enormous variety. And we kind of told them the applications that we were looking for, and they hooked us up with one. It was $55
Okay.
for a nice clean one. It was gorgeous, no dents, and that came with the seal, so it was nice.
Absolutely. And Myco Myers says that it is an olive oil can. So it's an olive oil canister. He gets it on Amazon. I don't remember if he pays like $40 to $80 for it, but he got it, I think, free shipping to him. So, and I forgot to put the camera on me.
Thanks.
I just left the camera while you were off in La La Land and I was talking.
I wasn't in La La Land. I was reading. I was preparing for the next question.
Well, while you're looking at that, something I do want to talk about is the price of soy. I've heard has been going to be going up. So everyone either be very observant of the price moves on soy. A lot of the soy it has something to do with the Ukrainian conflict, I think, but there are shortages coming in other places as well. So we should be mindful that there are ways of growing without, certain supply lines. If they go down, I'm not expecting our supply lines to go down. I'm expecting price increases. And the problem with combating price increases, in my opinion, is that pretty much any other alternative costs way too much in labor to be feasible. So even though I say, that soy, even if soy doubled in price, I would still probably use soy, because when you count it out, it's only like 20 cents per bag for me right now. That means it would be 40 cents per bag. But if that bag produces 3 pounds of mushrooms over 2 or 3 flushes, that extra 20 cents could be eaten up pretty well. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. But the labor of going through an alternative would hurt. And there are other alternatives like beet pulp, and now with the Thor bagger that we have being so versatile and being able to adjust your mix so easily, it means that you can use things like alfalfa pellets and beet pulp pellets. So I don't think that we're going to have any issues with that, but I did want people to be aware that soy prices are about to skyrocket from what I hear.
Boy, Cheryl and Tristan are on it. They're answering a lot of questions.
Uh-oh. They're on here answering questions instead of working.
What gauge needle do we use that we recommend?
16.
16?
We use a 16 gauge needle. It is thin enough that it doesn't tear up your injector port very often. We used to use an 18 gauge needle, I think. But 18 gauge, it just tears up it would get plugged up too easy.
And then my mind was going between the two.
Yes, Madcap, we are rocking the open top humidifier. In fact, we just got a sensor put on it like Friday or something, Monday, I don't know, just a few days ago. It's been running where we come in and we would unplug it, let it dry out, and plug it back up, and then unplug it, and just keep working like that until we actually had the humidistat sensors come in. Baby, you look like you got a question.
Micah Myers said, "This is my work now."
This is my work now. Y'all using any type of incubator in the lab? Yes, we are, but not for agar plates. Mainly for cockroaches. so that because they'll be at a temperature where they'll breed, especially right now with the AC on. So
also, Foodie Fungi said that the barrels that they got came from an ice cream factory, and they were used to store fudge. And the first batch was amazing. The smell, I can imagine. There are days that I miss working in the cake factory just because of the sheer amount of smells.
Maybe used to come home covered in powdered chocolate. It sounds better than it is because she was also covered in sweat. So.
That's true. It made your hair curl. It was great.
Yeah.
I got compliments all the time.
Let's see, Seth, what's the price increases going to look like on soy? That's Urban Veg's question. I don't know if Seth would want to put that out in the public forum. He might. I don't know. Okay.
See.
We have any other Monday Patreon live streams? Hour on the Discord. Oh, that's you. You said hour on the Discord.
I fixed it later.
Okay.
With a star.
On. Gotcha. Guys, can you add nutrients to a bag once it's been colonized? Will it keep contamination down? You can add nutrients to it, but it's from what everyone has seen. When we try to rehydrate bags or anything like that, you got like a 50-50 chance, like a flip of the coin, whether or not it's going to work. Ooh, that was a pretty sound. Where it's right there at the, yeah. Oh.
Ew.
My barrel had pork lard in it, very greasy. Yeah, that sounds bad. I think I would have gotten something else. I think I would have just, I probably would have bathed in that barrel. Grease myself up like a pig.
Could have had a fish fry or something.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the end.
Well, I mean, that's the end on that. But what do you want to talk about through? I mean, we've got a topic. I wanted to finish this part too. I know you're gonna have to be leaving in like 5 or 10 minutes, but
yeah, I was gonna say.
What have you got as far as your thoughts on? I don't know, the chaotic state of the world, or how we're pivoting. Some of the ways we're pivoting, maybe. Crickets.
You put me on the spot.
Putting her on the spot. I'll do it.
Frozen.
Says Ian says soy holes in the UK are now 480 pounds a ton. That's at $630. Holy crap. That's pretty high. But you were saying they were high already. And I guess the UK doesn't. You guys have got like a lot of import stuff, but do you clean and reuse contaminated jars? Yeah, absolutely. But you just wash them out and then reuse them. I don't tend to reuse lids unless I haven't done much damage to the injector port.
My favorite thing to do is clean them, wash them, throw them in the dishwasher, and do a couple high-end cycles as far as like the high-temp cycles. But yeah, I like it kept them nice and cleaned.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like a sani rinse too that you can use that I know they use in the restaurant industry that can make them nice and shiny and pretty and all that stuff.
Absolutely. I've been wanting to the Star Sand that people use. I've been wondering, it's a disinfectant for the brewing industry. I wonder how effective it would be for mushroom culture. So, can you neglect steam pasteurization, just go with high spawn rates until they build up capital from sales? Chris, some people have done that with success, and some people have not. There's also cold lime pasteurization. Honestly, what I would do is get a pressure cooker. It's going to be way cheaper, and then you can do 2 to 4 blocks at a time or something, depending on what size cooker you've got, and just be cooking regularly. That way, you'll have a more sure thing, and that's pretty important when it comes to the world of mushrooms, is having that consistency. You heading out?
Yeah.
All right. Be careful. I love you. I'll see you soon. So, anyways, you could do that, or you could even just get a steam generator and put it in through a 55-gallon drum. Steam pasteurization is pretty cheap to do, and honestly, if you're not at a point where you can afford to try to build one, you may want to go get a job somewhere, work for a little bit, save up some money, and then build it. Because I'll tell you that your high spawn rate idea, it can work, but where it's not going to be as reliable, you won't be able to supplement your substrate. It's going to be harder. It'll be a harder way up than it would be to just save up a little bit of money. But a couple $100 and you can DIY a steam pasteurizer pretty easily. So you got a 55-gallon stainless steel barrel from M&M in Canton, North Carolina, and made a great smoker out of it. Yeah, Joe, that works. Though, I mean, there is that barrel place right up near you in Knoxville. That's where we've gotten some barrels in the past, and that would be a good place probably to get some steel barrels as well. Yggdrasil, I don't know. I don't have an estimate for how much soil will go up. All I've been informed is that it's going to go up to outrageously. But what outrageously means is, I mean, if it doubled in price, I would consider that an outrageous increase, because that's an increase of 100%. But effectively, it wouldn't hurt us mushroom growers much. Excuse me. It will obviously hurt us a little bit, but again, you know, let's say, okay, just for instance, and I'll run the math right here alongside us. Okay, you get a ton for $800, right? That ton is 2,000 pounds. 2,000 divided by 2.5 pounds. That's for, you know, our 12-pound bags or 10-pound bags or whatever. That's how much soy goes in. You're looking at 800 bags. So now your cost is $1 per bag for the soy. So, okay, that $1, you take 3 pounds, you multiply that by whatever you sell. We sell ours for about $8 a pound. So 3 times 8 equals $24. And then, you know, you subtract your soy from it. And, okay, you've lost 50 cents. That's not bad. Now, I mean, of course, we didn't put shipping on the order there. That could increase it a little bit more. That is still a pretty significant cost in materials on the bag, because I think my material cost in the bag is something like $2.50, and then the rest of the $5 is like $2.50 in labor. So your 50-cent increase is pretty significant in the cost, but not when you compare it to the return and the fact that you can amortize that across your poundage. So, shouldn't contamination die in the pressure cooker making cleaning before? Not a big deal. Drew, I don't know what cleaning before. Yes, if you sterilize in a pressure cooker, contamination should die. As far as cleaning before, I don't know what you mean. Have you seen faster colonization rates on pasteurized blocks or on sterilized blocks? I tend to see it on pasteurized. I don't know why. Sterilized seems to be a little bit slower. Maybe it's how cooked the substrate is. But, yeah, it's just... it's negligible between the two. Chris Lohman says, thanks for the response. I enjoy going through your videos. You are very welcome. I hope that actually really helps. I'm always, you know, even if the answer isn't what you were wanting, my whole goal is to make you guys as successful as possible. So I'll even give you information if it hurts. Would you get some winter oyster from Lenny at Emmy and mix it with Rocky Top so it'll do a colder environment? The winters are fruiting at 40 to 60 degrees. So Rocky Top, we grow down almost close to freezing, so it's already a winter oyster. If you're asking that if I will specifically do that cross for you, sure. I mean, I could look at it. Does he have one named the Winter Oyster? The Winter Oyster, like the Winter Soldier. Winter Oyster. I'll take a look at it. Winter Oyster, crossed with Rocky Top. See how it goes. But I mean, just because we do a cross between those two doesn't mean we're going to see a significant increase in any good trait. But we can try it and see. A Rocky Top already grows great at 40 to 60 degrees, though, just in case you're wondering. Okay. Now, that's at the bottom of the chat. I'm sure that I'll let it build up a little bit more. But let's go back into pandemics and wars and inflation and disruption. There is an excellent article by a guy named Venkatesh Rao. I talk about it all the time. You guys are probably sick of it. But sorry, my ADD kicked in. I saw Cheryl put in something, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. We have... The interesting article is called The Return of the Barbarians, and it is by a guy named Venkatesh Rao. It is on a website called ribbonfarm.org. That is RIBBON, and then .org. Just put it in the chat. Return of the Barbarian, and there we go. It is an excellent essay. I guess it's not even really an essay, like just blog post about this idea behind the figure-ground relationship that exists between civilized and barbarian throughout history. He talks about, like, there's a fork. It's called the Veblen fork, or Neo-Veblen fork, which Veblen was a guy who wrote a book. There's something about the leisure caste. So anyways, the whole point is you have hunter-gatherers who are basically in a cul-de-sac of evolution. Hunter-gatherers have existed for a very long time. There aren't many of them left. they're not really going forward. It is probably the most idyllic state of existence because you get to reap what you don't sow, and you get a lot of downtime, but you also don't create a lot of things like medicines and things like that in a wealth accumulation style. Then you have civilized technologies. Civilized technologies would be something like... Civilized technologies are technologies that create more wealth for the same amount of work. So because you are sedentary and you are civilized and you're in the same place, you get to accumulate lots of wealth, right? So you create technology that, man, if I just work harder and harder and harder, then I can get even bigger and bigger and bigger returns and stack up a wealth accumulation. Then you have barbarian technologies, which are fundamentally predatory, right? You're talking about pastoral nomads, and they've kind of been the star of the show until about the last 100 years or so. And his whole point is that they're coming back, but through technology. But he's talking about how the barbarian technology tends to be very individualized. It tends to be very mobile. It tends to be only what really matters to them, and they don't tend to accumulate wealth. Their whole point of predatory technology is to do less work to get the same reward. How do I get the idle time of the hunter-gatherer? So I work to earn that idle time, right? And it's not about stacking up accumulation of wealth. Instead, it's more about investing in yourself and investing in your abilities, techniques, etc. So it's not, like, it's not saying that barbarians don't have politeness and stuff, seeing Geraldine here, but it's more about, like, that's kind of the way I want to go, because going forward, when you're going in a period of chaos, whether it's pandemics or wars, inflation, disruption, etc., investing in yourself, investing in techniques that are low cost, high reward, meaning that they actually allow you to work less, and therefore you get to explore more time to invest in yourself and your family. That's the kind of lifestyle I'd really like to live. And he does talk in another article about a hybrid culture called a boat culture. Think, Vikings, Venetians, any sort of like the Muslim golden age of sail and trade, the period of exploration done by the Chinese. These boat cultures tend to live off the land and predate by going out and fishing. So they're reaping what they don't sow, but they're also able to accumulate wealth, right? And that's really what I want. So now we'll go back here and just see, just in case anybody else has had questions. I don't want the chat to build up too fast. But anyways, I hope you guys see where I'm going with that. That is just, I want to be, like, you want to be able to pivot. And the hardest form to pivot from is the sedentary form. It is the mobile form that is able to pivot and keep up with changes that are the best, which means you should be relying and investing on yourself. You should be relying and investing in your people. You should be working on technologies that are, what is the lowest cost, highest reward I can do? Really follow that 80-20 rule. 20% of the work gets you 80% of the reward, and then move on to the next one and the next one. And every time just be focusing on that 80% for 20% of the work. Once you get everything fleshed out to where you're doing 20% of the work and getting 80% of the reward, maybe then go through and refine everything. Okay, so for anyone wondering about the viscosity of the aerated LCs, Cheryl says that she made a GIF of our King Blue gallon jar and put it on the voice overflow channel on Discord. So anyone who is there, you can go on our Discord, can go see that. And thank you, Penny Pack. Yes, everyone push the like button, please. Or subscribe. Excuse me. And yeah, Geraldine, you did catch us live. At what point do you increase your prices due to inflation and material costs going up, gas, etc.? That is a great question, Drew. And my answer would be at the last possible moment. Well, that is kind of where I'm at right now. Let me put it even maybe a clearer way. The moment you sell out, and you sell out every single week, increase your prices. And if you sell out over and over and over again, and you're finding it hard to maintain supply, increase your prices. Increasing your prices will slow it down. It'll slow down your sales, yes, but it will also really slow down. It'll also, goodness gracious. Well, we're joined by my co-host, Myco Myers. How you doing, Myco? Doing good. Good. Always a pleasure to have you around. You having a cup? You gotta smell it. I don't think his mouth opens very well. Oh, gross. Oh, man. Well, I'm glad you're doing good. Enjoy your day. So, it's always a pleasure to see Myco. I wouldn't increase my prices until my supply was running out, or until I had a hard time meeting the supply. Till I couldn't keep up no matter how hard I worked. I would use this time of inflation right now to gobble up territory. This is the time when we can stay at the same price we are because we're already higher priced than agaricus mushrooms, and we can eat into our profit margins just a tad bit to really extend ourselves and our reach. Now, if you're at a position where you've just started and you're pretty early on in the process, you're going to have to increase your prices much sooner than someone who's been in it a little bit longer like myself, because I've had time to gain territory and build a stable base. It does mean that I'm going to have a competitive edge, right? But at the same time, most of us are not competing with other farms our size. We're competing with the bigger ones. So the big guys, I will tell you, I have had calls from Monterey Mushrooms over and over and over again, them wanting me to grow oyster mushrooms for them and shiitake. And they're wanting me to do like 2,000 pounds a week of shiitake and like 1,000 pounds a week of oysters. And I had to turn them down, in part because I don't want to compete with myself by selling through a distributor and taking a lower cost. But I told them that I would sell it to them at my prices, and they agreed to that even. And so right now is not, you could be raising prices, but you could also be gobbling up territory. So we've got a chef who was doing Italian sausage, and as he was doing Italian sausage, meat prices skyrocketed through the pandemic. He replaced about a third of the meat with mushrooms from us. So he went from ordering like 1 case a week to ordering 4 cases a week. People liked it so much that when meat prices came back down to a more reasonable level, he kept the 4 boxes a week because people were like, man, this mushroom sausage is amazing. So I like holding off to the last little bit because labor has always been our biggest bottleneck. And when the pressure on wages goes up, that's when we need to be raising our prices. So as far as material costs go, even if things are like double the price and somewhat, if everything doubled, bag, soy, hardwood, pellets, energy cost, etc., if all of that doubles, then yeah, I would just increase my prices just to that point. I wouldn't make any more profit than what I'm currently making. But if I was having trouble, if you want to pay people more, right, because the pressure on their wages is so high, then you raise your prices to be able to pay your people better. And you pass that cost along to the customer, which is unfortunately the way inflation always hurts the customer most. All right, so I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, ask for more detail on the bottom, and I will definitely get you some. What filters, pumps are you using on your aeration tech? So Neo Geo, I'm just using syringe filters plugged in. I am going to build a HEPA filter box to put the aquarium pump into, but so far it is just aquarium pump to syringe filter to silicone tube that goes through the lid, and it's just blowing air. And the cool thing about this is no stir bars, no stir plates, and the growth rate has been just prodigious. We're still doing our quality control tests, so we can't say that this is working 100%. And I'm a little suspicious at how fast everything's growing in. But then again, very seldom have I ever seen aeration tech done on anything, just the stir, which does not replace the oxygen, it just dissolves the carbon dioxide. Just my inspiration of Mushroom Journey, got a lab set up totally DIY, 40 block fruiting room, totally hooked. Awesome, Crazy Dave, I'm glad to hear it. Oh, the dogs are excited. You know what that means? It means something at the back. We just lost Myco a moment ago. He came in here and filled in for you for a moment.
Oh, yeah?
You guys hear how much that dogs love Samantha?
That's...
Shh, that's enough, puppy. Oh my goodness.
What's that?
It's going to be so hard to finish this show with he's talking like that.
Hold on.
Let's see. Have you gathered enough people to assist in finding samples of new strains? David, no. That'll never happen. We need everyone mushroom hunting and collecting strains from other places. We do have a SOP for collecting strains, which is 3 photos. You've got number 1, the one that you want a top-down photo. 2, you want a bottom-up photo, and then number 3, you want a photo of it in its natural habitat. And then you want to GPS tag it with your phone if you can. But no, if you're talking about the beta testers that we were looking for to try to growing out new strains, no, we haven't found enough of that either.
My cup's in a different spot.
Tristan just picked it up and was like going like this
Okay.
through the mask. I mean Myco Myers.
Gotcha. It's like, that's not where I left that.
Man, that medicine stopped working. I could hear my nose as it stopped up again. And I left my Flonase at the house. Anyways, Crazy David, thank you so much. I never know how to take people saying that I'm their inspiration. I'm very appreciative of it. I'm appreciative of, the fan loyalty that we've gotten and how much people seem to enjoy us. I just never know how to take that. So thank you very much. Maybe I hope that's the appropriate way to take that. Thank you for the love. Gracefully.
Good job.
I try my best. When you're not making a profit. Yeah, there you go, Pennypack. Read the book 5, Book of 5 Rings. Miyamoto Musashi. Yeah, I'm very familiar. I shouldn't say that I'm very familiar. I've read parts of that. I've never read the whole thing, but I will actually. I will get into that and read it. I do love Sun Tzu, and like I said, there's that ribbon farm guy I was talking about. Also does articles on OODA loops, which the OODA loop is Mike Boyd was talking about how do you fight in a dogfight as a pilot, which is basically how do you make decisions in an environment where you have a split second to make a life and death choice, but have almost no information. And he created what's called the OODA loop. The OODA loop is what you do. It's observe, orient, decide, and then act. And then you loop it again, and then you loop it again, and you loop it again. And then before you know it, like you can retrain yourself on this. By the way, if you microdose, it actually does help you retrain yourself on this from personal experience. But it is one of those things where the OODA loop can get really fast to where it's almost just on autopilot in your head, and you can start becoming very confident and almost always responding in at least not the worst ways. And of course, a less bad decision is better than no decision at all. So, I don't remember where I was going with that. I was just going to say that I love these little articles that are like helping you make better decisions. Ribbon Farm has had such a big impact on me, and how I think and how I run a farm and how I strategize, that I think it's very much worth going. That's why I push it so hard. Okay. Exception to the rule, so this guy cracks me up every time I see him sneak in. Yeah, I love Myco Myers sneaking in. You always want your demand and your production to be close. Yeah-ish. It's you want to play it as close as you can. So you want to raise your prices up to the point that you always sell out or almost sell out. But not so much that you're selling out like constantly. So like right now, we probably should raise our prices because we're selling out every week.
I mean, ideally, too, you want to cover your cost of materials, the cost of running your business, payroll, supplies, any personal costs that you as far as paying yourself a worthy income to be able to, one, survive, but also to continue to grow and sustain the business. And then you want to be able to put enough of a nest egg back, right, in case something were to happen. If there were a hiccup, you can at least have so many months worth of wages held back or whatever. And so that's what we've always thought of. We haven't raised our prices yet. It's very tempting to.
Okay. Well, so I mean, like Scott here says, would you base your prices on current cost of supplies or on the replacement cost? And I would say replacement cost. Like whatever it's going to cost you to replace it is more important than whatever you bought it at.
Well, and so at the very beginning of the pandemic, we kind of came across this mentality of raise prices, everyone else is doing it. Which I can see you're kind of maybe trying to get ahead of the game. You're taking advantage of a current situation. I also really caution against price gouging. I don't like that. That's not something that we...
Well, and preferential treatment of chefs. We don't do that. Like,
no.
We don't charge one set of chef, like a chef one thing, and then cut the cost for another. It's non-negotiable. I do my chefs talk, and if one of my chefs finds out that I'm cutting costs for one of them or increasing the cost on one of them at a time, they will find out. They just will.
Just bad practice in general.
Yeah, and I think that it's a dirty practice.
I agree.
Like you should set it to whatever your prices should be at. I don't like haggling. Haggling is not what a merchant does. Right? That's...
Well, and for example, our LC syringes are more expensive than most, but we are actively building the infrastructure to keep things on a high-end quality.
Oh, yeah. I don't see how some of these guys can buy my strains.
I have no idea.
Turn around and sell them $7 and make money.
I don't
think that they're really valuing their time, number one. But number two, my guess is their businesses aren't growing the way ours is growing. When we just hired Cheryl, that was in part because of Patreon and liquid culture sales spikes. There's
a sacrifice somewhere.
There's a sacrifice somewhere. And I think that a lot of these guys see like, oh, yeah, I don't really value my time. They could easily replace themselves. If they were charging the proper amount, they could eventually replace themselves. But they don't. So they're just going to be trapped in this endless cycle of mom and pop business stuck at home, which makes me sad for them, but also kind of infuriates me because it's like, all right, are we trying to race to the bottom? Like, I know how much it cost me to produce and improve and keep strains maintained, hire proper personnel, etc. At $7 a culture, that's not really the proper way to go. So I don't know.
And here's another thing. Andrew asked me ways that we are pivoting and kind of investing, earlier, and I only had a few minutes before I had to leave, and I was trying to go through the files in my mind, right, of what I could possibly talk about in such a short amount of time. But whenever you are taking the money that's coming into your business and you're distributing it out, and you look at your business as a whole, and you look at all the potential things that you can do and that you can grow into. And Geraldine's comment earlier, whenever she mentioned, the winemakers, you want your Hepa to be 13 or better. That's what my local winemakers tell me. There's so many things that a Hepa filter and the current infrastructure of a mushroom farm can accomplish. There's so many things. Sorry, I keep wanting to look at Andrew. He's normally across from me, and I'm sitting talking to him.
Across.
I'm sorry. I'm stubborn that way. Anyway, you can diversify enough that you can keep your prices low at one point, and then just like we've diversified our income, we've got an online income, we've got the fresh mushrooms, we've got Patreon, we've got you guys being kind and making contributions and donations, we've got so many different things, and we've got so many projects on the side too. Like we're working on our spent substrate, taking that substrate and putting it into the garden, growing our food, and at the same time using the autoclaves to can stuff. It's just it's a huge cycle and a huge circle of just life and production and capability, and there's so many things that you can do to maintain your costs without hiking prices, in my personal opinion.
Absolutely. Julie Trotta, to answer your question, it's right now it's only the beta tester is basically supporting us through Patreon at the evolution pit level. You're getting early access to the strains, and you have rights to the strains. You can sell it. You can do whatever you want with it. All we want is the data back and the pictures back and everything. So that's just on that Patreon level. We wanted to kind of really keep it down to not being just everyone that was offered.
And that's the $25 tier?
That's the $25 per video tier.
Okay.
Now, like my Monday night streams, they don't count in that. It's something like 2 videos a week.
Yeah, we wanted the Monday night streams to be...
It's a reward for Patreon.
Yeah, and a thank you. And, answering any questions, just kind of going in there, talking to each other, sharing our experiences, what we've, found out about the strains, what we want to see more of, just that sort of thing. And something else, too, is these strains that we're sending you guys, we have run through our grow room at least once or twice. We're making sure that they're worth it, in our opinion, to send to you. We're not just throwing a bunch of stuff at you.
It's stuff that we specifically think has commercial potential.
Yeah.
But we don't have enough data on it. And, I mean, golly, what we've got, I don't know, Cheryl's been cleaning up the lab from the mess Jack and I made of it. And I don't even know how many strains we still have that are experimental, but it's a ton. We've got so much stuff in LC that's not listed on the website. We've got like something 200 jars of a liquid culture, but nowhere near that many strains listed on the website. And then we've got stuff in agar plates and slants and stuff. We've got wild strains people are sending in to us, which, by the way, when people send me a wild strain from their location, I will trade you culture for culture because I am interested in wild genetics from all over the place, especially Florida. You might get any Florida oysters, like not the Florida oyster that everyone calls the Florida oyster, because blue oysters aren't from Florida. An actual oyster from wild from the Everglades or something. I would love that. But I'm interested in it from all over the place.
And Chris Loman's made an interesting point. We've sold some 4-ounce boxes of lion's mane mushrooms for $5 each, and every person we have sold to has said that we should be charging more. Seems crazy. If you have something that Andrew and I talked about at the very beginning was the invisible hand of the market. We used to try to sell at a low price that anyone could buy, no matter who they were. That was kind of that heart of ours, wanting to get in there and make sure that no one went hungry. Anyone could buy it, and no one bought anything. It was the most absurd thing ever. We were selling
mushrooms for like $4 a pound.
It was ridiculous. That said, people started demanding a higher price, and we gave it to them. So that to me is different than just raising your prices just for the sake of raising.
We were about to quit because we were like, we can't make any money. Nobody will buy anything. We're like, I heard somewhere about like raising prices. Like, screw it, $20 from $4 a pound to $20 a pound. All of a sudden, we sold out every week. And I was like, okay, well, I guess what we're signaling to the market is that these are valuable.
Yeah.
And at $4 a pound, we were signaling this is not valuable.
Well, and your market is signaling to you that it's valuable. So, respond in kind. Hey, you know what? This is valuable. I'll raise the price. And in part, it's them wanting to support you. It's them wanting to make sure that you are there to stay. And I think that is such an amazing and noble thing for a consumer to do, is to come up to someone and give an honest opinion of you should be charging more. Maybe I know there were times here we talk about being at the restaurants and not changing prices, but there were so many times that I was at the farmer's market that I saw a single mom, she was counting through her tokens on food stamps, and I was like, you know what, here, buy one get one. Like you have that capability. If you're not charging $7 or whatever, a syringe, I don't know. You just make your prices to the point that you can be generous. You okay?
Yeah. The microphone was cool.
Okay.
My allergies Samantha caught me doing this, and it's because the microphone is so cool to the touch, and my sinuses are bothering me. But I can feel the medications fading already within like an hour and a half.
But don't make your prices so high that you can be insanely lavish. And, that's the way I think too.
gouge the customer. No. So there's a book I read about some space merchants, and we stole it for us as a culture group, I guess. But Mossy Creek Mushrooms culture is, there's one thing that you can say that is the most insulting thing of all, which is, oh, that guy's not interested in return business. So if you're price gouging,
this is actually one of my favorites. I really like this.
If you're price gouging, then you're not interested in return business, right? And if you've got bad customer service, you're not interested in return business. So, and I mean, there's a difference between having bad customer service because you're completely overwhelmed, because every mushroom farm I know right now has been accused of bad customer service, and it's literally they just don't have enough people because the mushroom world is booming, and no matter how fast we grow, we can't seem to grow fast enough. Now, thankfully, we've got Jackie in a completely farm manager position and customer support, which I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Cheryl and Jackie have got orders going out next day. Same day sometimes.
So excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for us. Like, just
absolutely
excited. See these eyes sparkling? This is how excited I am.
Yeah. And real quick, to go back to Tristan Cresswell's comment on a HEPA filter. If you're on a budget, just buy a small one. But the one thing you should never skimp, the two things you should never skimp on, is your sterilizer and your HEPA filter. The HEPA filter is we'll call it, the sterilizer is the heart of the operation, right? Then the HEPA filter is the lungs of the operation. You wouldn't want, whoever built you to skimp on your heart and lungs. So you shouldn't either. Now, just buy like a 2x2. They're going to be much cheaper. There's a lot of good companies that are building purpose-built HEPA filters that are small and budget-friendly. And that's the way I would go. But I would still pay full price. Or you can do DIY, but read up on it, order the filter and the fan separately. But I'll be honest, by the time you count in your labor, it's going to be worth just buying somebody's all-in-one model. Phenomenal Fungi makes good ones. Air Science makes good ones.
Phenomenal Fungi was the ones too that was doing the burnt,
the wood burnt, the brand. They're branding them and they look cool.
I thought that was super gorgeous.
Looks cool as shit. It looks like mycelium in a circuit board pattern. I freaking love them. And then there's another fungi, Galaxy Fungi or something that's got like
their branding's super cool too.
I freaking love their logo. It's like a mushroom spore, but it's galactic plane style or something. But anyways, Phenomenal Fungi, as far as I know, Earth people. They used to make them. Paul Stamets' company, Fungi Perfecti, is where I bought my first one. Ben built my second one. Sometimes if you call Man of War Manufacturing, Ben will build you HEPA filters, but you have to get a quote on them because the price changes on stuff.
And it kind of depends on the time that he has. So
yeah, absolutely.
He's got a new one. He's got a newborn, and I'm so excited for them. So they're quite busy right now.
Yeah, a little newborn looks a lot like Ben.
It does.
All right. Well, Cheryl said, "You're welcome." Excuse me. And there we go. I got to the soundboard in time. If you ever come to California, West Coast, let us know. Oh, well, I might. I haven't been. I'm not traveling. I don't know that I would travel out to the hellscape that is California. But
gosh. Smack.
Sorry. I do love the West Coast. One of my favorite parts of the trip out west my gramps took us on was out there along the cliffs around Northern California, Oregon, and Washington State. You had all these cliffs with just the ocean down below, these nice sandy, cold beaches. And then, what else was it? Oh,
Where'd the waterfall story come from?
That was from Colorado.
Oh.
Yeah, where I saw the most beautiful sunset over the most beautiful beyond belief is what I said. And Gramps used to tell that story all the time. He could not snap me out of it. I was just staring at this waterfall, and he's like, Andrew, it's time to go. He said, well, he's really enjoying it. I'll give him 5 minutes. 5 minutes goes by. Andrew, it's time to go. And Gramps is like, man, I really don't want to drive this RV through the mountains in the dark, but Andrew is having such a good time with this. And then he said that, he's like, Andrew, it's time to go. And I was like, yeah, let me take a picture. And he said, I didn't raise the camera even an inch. I just kept it there, like, just looking. And Gramps was like, let him have it. I'll just give him as much time as he needs.
That's such a beautiful thing too, that he took the time. Oh, he took the time to let you have that. That to me is the mark of a good person.
Oh yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
I'd love to go out to the West Coast again. Just travel through the pandemic was not something I was excited about. Now that everything's relaxed, I might do some more traveling. In fact, something I am planning for you Florida farmers, I want to take my kids down and do a rocket launch, like watch a rocket launch and spend some time at the Kennedy Space Center. Love to go by through the Everglades, but I figure Samantha and I this fall might take a small, like 2 or 3 weeks off and just kind of explore Florida, because Florida and I have never had a good relationship. So the only time I've been there was when I was flown in from Paris Island on a helicopter for medical shit.
But I'll probably have to find a built-in umbrella.
Well, that too, yeah, because you would die in the sun. But the point being, like, I want to do a mushroom farm tour, like across different regions, and I think it would be really cool to just go tour all of you guys, right, and just do like showcasings. So one thing I'd like to do, last time Samantha and I went to Denver, and man, I really missed the chance because we went to go listen to the concert, but then we just went hiking the rest of the time, which we sorely needed that outdoor time. But I wanted to go see Fresh from the Farm fungi. Oh my gosh, Lion's Mane of Denver. Oh gosh, there's like 3 or 4 other farms that kind of center around that area that I wanted to go to at the time. This was years ago. So Gary's YouTube channel was not nearly so big as what it was, or it was what it is now. But yeah, it was. I want to do this. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. I may do a Patreon tier that basically would be like a travel tier, and basically whatever you guys put into that would go to paying travel plans, so we can go do mushroom videos or mushroom farm videos of other farms. So if it's something people are interested in, maybe we'll do a poll on Patreon or something for it. Yeah, T-side, we're just about to close it up. Like, we got 2 minutes. All right, so I've not been watching the chat, but that's okay, because we're going to go ahead and end it, because I've got some beautiful king blues that are bigger than my freaking head out there in the grow room right now, and I need footage. So I don't have time to dally today.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing. You know, amongst all of this craziness and chaos and everything else, we're keep on keeping on, and we're spawning that culture, and just having fun while we're doing it. You got to keep going. So that's what we're doing, amongst a lot of other things, which we will constantly be sharing with you all. So.
Absolutely. And Tristan Cresswell, man, yeah, you name it. You too, Geraldine. We'll get out there one day. I think there's a difference between, real quick, Todd Basinger says, I think there's a difference between being a businessman and a mushroom farmer mycologist. Businessmen seem to want to own the world, while mycologists want to save it. May just be wishful thinking. I don't know, Todd. I think of myself as more of a businessman than, like, I had to go through that transition. I had to get out of I'm the mycology guy and I'm the business owner guy because I own the business. So...
Well, we're able to do more now, too. Selling at $4 a pound, we were wanting to save the world.
Yeah. And
we're actually able to do more now and share more experience and wisdom and knowledge
so
than we were before.
The way I look at it is if I run the business like a business and I run it based on numbers and I really focus on that sort of operating the business as business, then... in my personal life, I can be as generous as I want. And that's really what I want, is I want to be independently wealthy so that I can further the causes that I want to see in saving the world. Like, I would love to see old growth forests have more protection. But while that's going on, I would like to see people genetically mining, like bioprospecting in these old growth forests while we still have them. Because you don't know what lurks there that we don't have. So,
So Todd said you're not the typical businessman, my friend. Trust me, your wife would not allow it.
Maybe, but I don't know. Like I feel like people have a skewed view, and maybe we're talking about two different levels of businessmen, because I know many people who are multimillionaires that have started their own businesses and worked their way from the ground up.
We also have our own unique view of what a businessman is.
It's true, but and that's what I'm saying. Like maybe he's talking about corporate, like a corporate executive, where I'm thinking Gary, who's kind of a rough asshole when you first meet him, but who is also one of the most generous people I've ever met in my entire life.
I don't know how to take it sometimes.
Yeah, like it's
because I want to give back in equal measure.
Most businessmen that I've met are very generous, but are also very rough very straightforward. But that's because you learn to be in business. I don't know. Maybe she already stated her feelings towards price gouging. That's why you'll get my business when I can afford it. Well, that sounds good to me, Todd. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like again, maybe we're talking about two different types of businessmen, and we'll leave it at that because I feel like you and I are probably in agreement here on what is right. Maybe I'm just fiddling with the bits.
And here's another thing: we're wanting to do more podcasts, invite chefs over. And we've had quite a few agree that are very excited. And I think this might be a common question. What's your view of a businessman? I think that would be really interesting.
That'd be good. We should ask Chris down first. You think he would come down on Wednesday?
He's absolutely said yes.
Okay, cool.
I'm not on Wednesday. I don't know about Wednesday.
Well, it had to be Wednesday. Not this coming Wednesday. I'm just saying a Wednesday. We'll talk to him. We'll see. We'll try to get some chefs down here. Maybe we could do it from the restaurant. As long as I've got Wi-Fi, we can take the cameras and the laptops. We'll see what we can get you guys. We can get some conversations with some chefs. That'd be kind of cool. No, not Gary Pillarchick. I'm thinking it's a guy that came here for a mentorship. I don't want to give out his name in case he doesn't want, runs a big yacht business and stuff, but does mushrooms for fun. So, saving the world 1 pound at a time. That's that's exactly the way to do it. All right, guys. What do you got, baby?
Keep spawning culture.
Keep spawning culture, y'all.
Bye.